Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. I'm here to plug you in the world of professional wrestling. I'm Fisher and I'm here for the AEW Dynamite review. I don't know where my background's gone. It had the Recharge thumbnail there and it's gone. So at the moment you're just seeing a plain background, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, this is our first ever live stream on the channel. So it's a little bit experimental. But I'm going to go through AEW Dynamite and Rampage from last week. Just going to look at edits, see if I can get customization. Let's have a look. Details. I think we can do it on here. I don't know why it doesn't just save your thumbnail when you're doing a live video. It's really annoying. Let me have a look. Okay, here we go. Should be able to get a Recharge background. And is it doing it? Let me have a look. It's not doing anything right now. It's a bit of a nuisance. Sorry about this. Yeah, thumbnail that. But then it doesn't have back. Oh, that's not background, is it? Well, I think I'm just going to ignore that for now and just carry on doing the review as if I normally would. Let me just spin it like that. That's better. You haven't got too much of a background now. So I'm going to talk about Rampage and Dynamite. And then if there's anyone else in the chat, if anyone actually views this live, has any questions, just general wrestling, anything to do with wrestling, just put it in the chat and we can talk about anything else. Obviously, I am going to address the Jeff Hardy situation because that's relevant to the AEW shows, but I won't bring up anything else unless anyone has reason to. So Rampage last week started with Jake Hager versus Eddie Kingston. I'm not a massive fan of Hager matches, I've got to admit. Not someone that particularly interests me, and it was a slow-paced match as you'd expect of him, really. And it was okay, but yeah, it was only really good when Kingston was doing the offense, to be honest. It was one of those matches where it was quite boring. Hager did do a good ankle lock, but to be honest, it wasn't particularly good. Then you got Jay Lethal debuting. He wasn't debuting. Wrestling with the debuting Satnam Singh against two jobbers that I didn't get the name of. Singh looked okay for his first match. He did a big double crossbody, which didn't look too bad. And then it was quickly over with a lethal injection from Jay Lethal, which was all right. Only got, I think, not many people watching at the moment, but hopefully, I'm hoping. Obviously, this is just really a test and a trial period. We want to get background sorted. We want to get other stuff. Obviously, when we do a podcast, we do get that. We have our normal backgrounds, which we haven't got here. So it's a bit annoying because I get, people in the background or whatever, which don't normally get on these videos, which is a bit of a nuisance. So I'm just trying to figure out the best way to counter that. I think that might be the best way so far. I might move it around even more in a minute, to be honest, and just do that. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work better. Might have to move chairs. Sorry about this. There we go. I think that pull that blind out a bit to stop the sun shining through. I think this is a good. What is going on with this curtain? There we go. Right, that's better, I think. Yeah, and I've got a fan on me now, so that's good. Right, then we got Hookhausen on the show. Everyone loves Hookhausen, one of our favourite things on the podcast. They drove by in their new cars. Hook looked awesome. Just watch it. Beautiful view, says Keeney. Yeah, it's just, this is better than what we were having in the background, which is my kitchen. So, yeah. I don't know, Keeney, if you know how to do it, but yeah, having our recharge thing in the background, so when we go live, it just does that. Obviously, next time we go live, we'll try and do that like we do for all the podcasts. but I don't know how to do it right now, and I'm not going to spend too long fiddling around with it. So yeah, that was cool. Then we got Red Velvet versus Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander's just awesome in the ring. I think she's getting better and better in AEW. Feels important when she wrestles now. Her new gimmick's really good. There's a really good Blue Thunder Bomb she did in the match, and a nice roll through German suplex as well. And she ended up winning clean. And obviously there was a beatdown afterwards, which was kind of predictable with Jade taking her out of a huge kick. Anna Jade had come down as well, and Athena. So I think we're getting some sort of 3-on-3 women's feud there, which is, something. Keeney says he's not sure. I have to look into it. Yeah, definitely. Because if we do this, we want to do more of these, obviously, and hope people watch them. But right now, this is the best it's going to get. I don't mind having this in the background as long as there's no, I don't want people walking in the background. So this angle is not too bad, but it'll have to do for now. And then we got the main event of Rampage, which was Will Ospreay's first match in AEW, teaming with Aussie Open, who I know very little about the actual Aussie Open guys. Will Ospreay I have seen wrestle before. Against FTR and Trent. It was decent 6-man tag action. And my main note really was that Ospreay's very different style to how I remember him wrestling before. Like, he used to be really just high flying. And obviously he's now like a heel. He's a different wrestler. He's grown a lot over the time. And he had a really different style here, actually, I would say. I'm going to turn that fan off to stop that blowing so much. He wrestles a really different style now, but he's still really good. People compare him to some of the top wrestlers in the world, and I can understand why. He's a very, very good wrestler, and he can obviously wrestle different styles and mix it up, which is really good. And he wrestled again on Dynamite, and I'll get to that in a minute because he had a great match on Dynamite. Last week's show, anyone who saw last week's Dynamite review, I was quite critical of Dynamite last week. Didn't really. There was so many things on it that just kind of were thrown together at the last minute. Didn't really make sense. With the interim title stuff and a new title being introduced. This week I thought was much more like it. In general, I thought it was much better. And we'll get on to that. So it started with Chris Jericho versus Ortiz. William Regal was on commentary here, adding a lot to the match. It was really busy around ringside with loads of people from the faction surrounding the ring. And they had a really good match. Jericho with a nice suplex off the apron to the outside. That got some sort of holy shit chance. And he got a near fall from a code breaker. Both guys were sort of getting near falls quite regularly. But what I really liked about this was the finish and the aftermatch angle. So Eddie Kingston tried to do his finisher to Jericho behind the ref's back. Ortiz eventually got a cover very close to win, and then another ref distraction led to what everyone thought was Fuego del Sol because he was dressed like it, hitting Ortiz with a bat behind the ref's back, and I was kind of like, wow, what's this? And then Jericho won off of that. But you could clearly see, if you were looking closely enough, that once he took the mask off, it was revealed it was to be Sammy Guevara. So Sammy Guevara back with Jericho. So he celebrated Jericho and Hager, obviously Inner Circle members, afterwards. Cool to see Sammy back with them, to be honest. I don't mind that now he's turned heel. That group does feel quite big with Sammy and Tay now added to it. So maybe, I don't know, I feel like maybe I'll lose a member or something soon. It'd be interesting to see what happens, to be honest. But yeah, I really like this. And then Ortiz obviously shaved his own head because he took the what was it, a shaver off of the barber guy that got in the ring, and he was like, I don't really give a shit, and shaved his own head, which I thought was cool and suited his character. And then they just shouted Blood and Guts, and obviously that match is going to happen at Blood and Guts. So yeah, really really good opening, I thought. Then we got Wardlow versus the 20 security guards. This, for me, and I love Wardo, and I know he's getting over, and he's been beating up security guards, and it's kind of been working. But for me, this was just filler. It was a little bit of a waste of time. It's kind of inevitable that he's going to beat the 20 guys up. But he did do it in quite a cool way. He did pin like 4 guys at once at one point, 3 guys at once. He beat one guy doing a submission and a pin at the same time. Like he did some cool stuff in there, but mostly it was just power bombs, as usual, and just making him look good by beating up 20 guys. It was pretty decent, but yeah, nothing special. And then after the match, Dan Lambert got on the mic up from in the crowd and sent 2 UFC guys into the ring. One of them was Tyron Woodley, I believe, or I've heard of. The other guy, I can't remember his name. I hadn't heard of him before. They got in the ring, but Wardlow basically persuaded them to beat up Mark Sterling, and they did, and that was it. Obviously, this is leading to Wardlow versus Scorpio Sky, isn't it, for the TNT title, which is a decent enough little like program for that. But yeah, I don't really see the point in this Mark Sterling stuff anymore, really. And we got that bang over match between Dax Harwood and Will Ospreay. This was just a great wrestling match. They kept calling it a dream match, and it ended up being a really good. Krusty with a random comment there in the chat. Good to see the Recharge lads in here, at least. So that's something. Keeney asks, can Dak be a single star in AEW? Well, I think he already kind of has become that. Like, he's had that match with CM Punk. He's had... Who else did he have a singles match with? But there's been 2 or 3 matches he's had, singles matches that have been, like, really, really good. And he's good on the mic, too. And I feel like he's overshadowing his partner at the moment. Even though they're still a great tag team, I think... he's just a brilliant wrestler. And I saw someone say the other day, like the PWI 500 that gets released at the end of the year, what's the highest tag team wrestlers ever ranked on that? Because they think Dax is one of the best wrestlers in the world now and will be rated high. And I think he is right up there. He's so good. And Will Ospreay here as well was great. But the chop from Dax in the corner, that was awesome. Nice shotgun drop kick into the steps from Ospreay. But yeah, this was a really, really good match. Crowd was so hot for it as well, which obviously helps a lot. And in the end, Ospreay won by lowering his elbow pad and like elbowing Dax in the head. Quite a cool finisher. And then predictably, at the end of the match, there was the big brawl between the United Empire, FTR, and Roppongi Vice. Then the return happened. Hit with the music was Orange Cassidy came down, and it looks like we might be getting Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy, which is fine. I'd like to have seen a different match maybe for Ospreay, but I'm sure it'll be good. And Orange Cassidy returning. Obviously, he's been out injured for a while now. I think it was not the last pay-per-view, the one before. Maybe he got injured, I think. And he's been sort of battling an injury through that. He's been on TV a little bit in the background, but he's not really done anything. So he's back, which is really cool. Yeah, Keeney says he loved Ospreay's finisher too. I thought it was awesome. Yeah, I've not seen it because, like I say, I've not seen this iteration of him. I've seen him wrestle when he was flying around the ring more, but I've not seen him like this. And I thought it was really cool. Then we got a face-off between Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi. This started off really strong with a great promo by Moxley, really passionate, talking about put over Tanahashi big as well. So if in case you didn't know what that was all about. And this bloody curtain is, tell you what, it's got that agility of Will Ospreay right now. Jesus Christ, I'm going to shut this window up a bit. Hang on 1 second. That should be better now. It's not even windy outside. I don't know how it's doing it. But yes, where was I? This is the problem with doing it live. No editing. So all these little bits that happen, you're going to get some beautiful bits. Yeah, so it was a really good start. But then I kind of lost interest a little bit in it when Jericho come out with Sammy and Tay and then introduced them. I was like, well, we've already seen this group earlier. And it just felt like more of the same, just throwing too much in. Desperado and Lance Archer become involved. And I just felt a little bit like this took away from Moxley and Tanahashi themselves a little bit here in the end, and ended up just being like two factions going at it, which is really this should be about the one-on-one match. However, they did kind of bring it back at the end with a stare down, and Tanahashi looks really cool. So yeah, I think that'd be a great match. Keeney asked which New Japan star am I most looking forward to seeing compete. It's got to be Will Ospreay because I've already seen him here have a great match, and I've seen him before, and I've already sort of know him and like him. I do think Tanahashi Moxley would be great as well. I would have, Okada was rumored to be performing there, but obviously he lost the title. We'll get to that in a bit, but he lost the title the weekend. I think he would have been one to watch because he's had some of the best matches, like highest rated matches of all time. So him versus like Hangman Page or something would have been amazing, or Adam Cole. But yeah, Will Ospreay for me, I think, is definitely number one on that list. Yeah, but I think the whole pay-per-view will be interesting. It's good to see some fresh faces in a way, although, we do see maybe too many in AEW in general. Then we got a match I don't really have much notes on, which is Miro versus Ethan Page. Don't really have any notes for this. It was a good match, and I was watching it, but I didn't really write anything down in the end. I've had a Miro won by submission in the end, clean, which for me is the right decision. Miro, he should have been probably in that world title mix. He wasn't even in the Battle Royal, which annoyed me last week, but at least he's in this tournament, and I think he might well win it, actually. We'll see. But I expected him to win here, and he did, and I think he's got a good chance at the pay-per-view. Then we got Britt Baker versus Toni Storm. This was a pretty good women's match. A bit of a random one to just sort of do on a Dynamite. And Toni got the win here. They did face before, didn't they? And Britt won. So I think they've done a bit of 50-50 booking here. Whether we get another match or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, Toni won in the end with a spike pile driver, which was a really good finisher for her. They called it the Storm Zero, I think, which obviously was her move name before, but it was a different move. So I'm not sure what's happened with that. And then we got that Hangman Page segment I was talking about. So he spoke about Okada losing the championship, but saying that his goal was still the same, to win it and face Jay White. Obviously, then Adam Cole comes out, who's friends with Jay White. Cole sort of congratulates Jay and says that he should be the one to face him. Hangman Page doesn't deserve to. Goes to bring out his friend, but then Jay comes from behind Hangman Page and hits him with the Blade Runner, which is a great move on Hangman Page. Takes the mic and says Hangman Page doesn't deserve a match, which was what I was kind of expecting. But then what I didn't expect was Jay White to then say, Adam Cole, you don't deserve one either, which I thought was a nice twist to it. And Adam Cole just like put his arms down like, what? Looked really annoyed. So I'm intrigued now who that they didn't reveal who is going to face Jay White. It could end up being like a triple threat match or something, but it's interesting. I don't know where that's going, but yeah, I thought that was a cool little twist. Keeney's got a couple of things on here. I agree with your Ospreay shout earlier, by the way. Yeah, I've seen him a bit before UK, obviously being an English wrestler anyway, and I've watched a couple of his matches here and there, and he excites me. Should Toni Storm win the women's title or keep on Thunder Rosa for longer? Toni Storm seems like the progression for the next women's champion at the moment, unless they can get a bigger star come in like Sasha Banks or something. But obviously I don't think that would happen anytime soon anyway, even if the release does happen. Toni Storm makes sense to be the next person to hold it, I think, but whether they take it off Thunder Rosa, I think Thunder Rosa deserves a little bit of a better run. I don't think she's had a great run so far, but I think she deserves better. But then they're kind of teasing this match now, aren't they? So if they're going to do the match now, then maybe they will put it on Toni. But it's harsh on Thunder Rosa because I don't really think she's been given much of a chance so far. It's disappointing, to be honest. But it's a good question because if they do the match, is it announced for Forbidden Door? Okay, Keeney's just said it's been announced for Forbidden Door. If it's been announced for Forbidden Door, then I didn't think they would announce it for Forbidden Door purely because it's not a AEW sort of it's an all AEW match, if you know what I mean. But maybe they have, because the thing is with New Japan is it doesn't have a women's division, which is really weird. But obviously there's loads of women's promotions like Stardom and stuff in Japan that are big, so it's kind of, they don't really bother. But yeah, it's quite weird. It's quite separate over there rather than in AEW and WWE where it's very much mixed. But yeah, maybe they are doing it then. That's fair enough. If that is happening now, yeah, maybe it's not a bad idea to put this title on Tony Storm, honestly, but it would be harsh on Thunder Rosa. And then there was the main event, which was the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express in a ladder match. Now, before we actually get to the match itself, obviously, this match was originally meant to be a triple threat ladder match. And the whole reason it was a ladder match, really, is because of the Hardy Boys' involvement. Obviously, it's one of their classic matches, is to do with ladders. And, reports have come out that they were meant to win the titles, which I assume they were going to. I thought they were going to win the titles before, when the match was announced. But obviously, with Jeff Hardy's arrest last week, being suspended until he gets some sort of rehab, the Hardys are obviously pulled from the match. So it's a bit of a shame. And yeah, I just want to say, I mean, we've said it on this show before when Jeff had issues previously, but just hope Jeff gets better, get some help with his addiction, feels right mentally, and then he can come back to wrestling. But I think he should take quite a long time away and make sure he's 100%. We saw John Moxley do something similar. I think it was last year, where he took quite a long period of time off, went and did some rehab, came back, looked great, and has been brilliant since. And I think Jeff Hardy, even though he's, a little bit older in age, he's still got that star value, star power, that he can have a future and come back and have another run. But it's because he's not too old that he can't, but I do think he should have a prolonged break and make sure he's 100%, because it's not a good look for him. It's not a good look for AEW, because AEW brought him in, don't forget, off the back of WWE releasing him based on they thinking he had similar issues, and then there was sort of no proof of it. So yeah, it's made Tony Khan look a little bit silly for taking a chance on him, but it's not really his fault, because you would, wouldn't you? You'd take a chance on Jeff Hardy, I guess. But I just hope he gets better soon, to be honest. But yes, let's get to the actual match itself. Really, really good match, and obviously a bit of a spot fest like you'd expect. This type of match, a ladder match for a start, and involving the Hardy Boys. Not the Hardy Boys, sorry, the Young Bucks. Just been talking about the Hardy Boys. Involving the Young Bucks, who obviously love these type of matches, but Jungle Boy as well suits these matches, and he did a Hurricane Rana straight away, like one of the first moves in the match, off a ladder. He kind of set the tone, really. It was really good stuff, this, and we'll talk about the aftermatch angle afterwards, because I really liked that. It's been coming for a while, but yeah, it's kind of what you'd expect from this match. Sentons onto ladder early on. And then I saw the Young Bucks stacking up 4 tables, and I thought, oh my God, like what's going to happen here? They've gone, something's going to happen, mad. And but Jungle Boy did a lot of like the good wrestling, I felt, in the match, just like the normal moves and stuff. But there was some super kicks and some good stuff from the Young Bucks. There was a good double team slam onto the ladder on Luchasaurus, took 2 men to take him down. And then shortly after that was where the 4 tables spot came in. And Luchasaurus went flying off the ladder through a table. I didn't expect him to be the one taking that bump, but it was a really cool spot. Like a lot of the spots in this match were really good, to be honest. And then, yeah, off of that, really, the Young Bucks climbed the ladder and won the titles. And I thought they would win. I mean, I predicted back at the last pay-per-view, I did predict Jurassic Express to lose the title and Christian to turn, because I thought it was the right time for it. They delayed it slightly because maybe, like Keeney said in the pod, they weren't the right tag teams. In hindsight, they probably weren't. Swerve and Keith, who aren't even a tag team anymore by the looks of it, and Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. But here, when this match was announced for the Young Bucks and Hardys, one of those 2 teams is winning the titles. And obviously, the original plan was the Hardy Boys to win, but then they decided to just carry on with the Christian heel turn and put it on the Young Bucks. And the Young Bucks are the reliable tag team champions you're going to get. You're going to get top matches out of them. And yeah, with some new teams in the scene and some of the old ones that you can still go back to. I'm sure their matches for the tag team titles will be really, really good. And so that leads to the after-match angle. So Jungle Boy is obviously hurt at the end. And I think he did have a little bit of a legit injury after this as well, after this match. Got a bit hurt. Don't know how serious it is. But Christian was helping him up. Doctor Guy was trying to help him up as well. But Christian was like, leave him to me, he'll be all right. And then he sort of just turns around and out of nowhere there's the kill switch on him. And then goes and does the concerto as well, which obviously we've seen Edge do a lot recently. And yeah, this was really, really good because, and the main reason I liked it is because it just made Christian interesting again. I think Christian's run in AEW it started off okay. Obviously, he had the match with Kenny Omega. Obviously, he won. He beat him once. He had that run with the Impact title, which was good for Impact and good for him on there, but didn't lead to too much. And since that, actually, he's done so little. He's barely wrestled and just felt like a manager to the other teams, to the team of Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, unfortunately. But here, this made me so much more interested in Christian. He played this really, really well as well. And I just thought this was an awesome angle to do and the perfect time to do it. I think we were getting a little bit bored of the tag team title scene being Jungle Boy and thing. I think they needed to freshen it up, and I think Christian definitely needed it. Keeney's question: will Young Bucks be on the Forbidden Door? Yeah, surely they might. Obviously, they haven't set anything up for it yet, but they needed to get the titles on them first, didn't they? Young Bucks obviously have a lot of history anyway in New Japan, and they will surely have a big match at the pay-per-view. And that was another reason, actually, that I thought the Young Bucks would win here. Obviously, they could have if they'd have put them on the Hardy Boys, would they? They probably still would have done the Young Bucks versus someone at Forbidden Door, I reckon, anyway, just not for the titles. Maybe they would have found it. There's so many belts. They'd have found a New Japan belt and just done it for that. But they might do it for the AEW tag titles now that's a possibility. So, yeah, I reckon they'll definitely be at the pay-per-view. I just don't know who they'll be facing. But yes. So that's really it for Dynamite. So unless there's any more sort of things to cover and talk about, then that's really it for this live stream. It's not gone too long. There hasn't been too many interactions, but I hope you've enjoyed the first ever Recharge Wrestling live stream. We will be trying to do more of these. If it's a one-person pod, because the thing is, one person talking to the camera is it gets quite boring, and it's quite hard to review a show on your own. So having interactive questions, even if it's just from my fellow Recharge guys in the thing, makes it easier to review a show because honestly, like, you need something to bounce off sometimes. So we'll try and do more of these in the future, get it looking a little bit better. Hopefully do some longer ones. Hopefully get some more people in the chat and commenting and leaving questions. That would be really ideal. But yeah, I've been Fisher. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like this video. Follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle. Look through our videos. We've got podcasts. We've got gaming from 2K22, Keeney's My GM mode. We have live show videos. We've got all sorts of content. We've got more stuff coming up, more ideas. Our podcasts, we cover everything in WWE usually, and then sometimes we do AEW on the same show. Sometimes we split them up. So check that out. There's one from yesterday, so that's got all of this week's sort of WWE news, including stuff about Randy Orton's injury, Roman Reigns' schedule, Sasha Banks' release, all sorts of stuff on there. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for more content. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.